You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
You don't need a yacht or a Grammy to need a will, just a family or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things, like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, it's for anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will.
Okay, let's dive right in. You shared some really interesting articles with us this week, all circling around a pretty alarming trend. Car theft is going digital.
Yeah, it's quite something.
I mean, if I'd told you a while back that someone could swipe your ride with, like, a USB cable and a hoodie, you might have laughed.
You definitely would have sounded like science fiction.
Now, it's enough to make you double-check the driveway, you know? This isn't some futuristic fantasy. Cyberjacking, stealing cars without needing to physically break in is happening right now. North America, Europe. It's real.
And what's fascinating, looking at the sources you sent over, is how the attack vectors have shifted.
Yeah.
It's less about smashing a window or forcing a log,
Right.
and much more about exploiting the sheer connectivity of modern vehicles.
Exactly. Your sources highlighted some pretty wild examples. We're talking about certain Hyundai and Kia models being hot-wired in under a minute with what's essentially a modified USB cable.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Then there's the vulnerability of Teslas and other high-end cars to relay attacks. Thieves can basically amplify your key fob signal right from inside your house.
Without even touching your keys or the car initially.
And even something as seemingly innocent as a public charging station could be a risk. Juice jacking, you called it. Potentially opening a back door to your phone, maybe even the car's systems.
That's the concern, yeah.
Yeah.
It really underscores a central theme in the materials. Our cars have become incredibly complex tech ecosystems. Mini data centers on wheels, almost.
All those features. We love GPS, Bluetooth, 4G, Wi-Fi, the apps on our phones.
Exactly. Each one is convenient, but each is also a potential point of entry if it's not properly secured. It's this constant trade-off, convenience versus security. The whole industry is wrestling with it.
Right. One of the books mentioned, From Hacked Cars to Cyber Attacks, really hit this home. The subtitle was something like, if your car has more software than your laptop, congratulations, you're now a driving data center.
A bit blunt, but pretty accurate these days.
So our mission here is to really unpack this. Based on your sources, we want to understand the reality of car hacking, how it's being done, maybe share some of the more unbelievable stories.
And crucially, give people some clear, actionable steps.
Exactly. Things you can actually do to stay safer without needing, like a PhD in cybersecurity just to drive your car.
And it's important to stress, drawing from those news reports, these aren't just theoretical risks, right? These are actual things happening to real car owners now.
For sure. Understanding how it works, what the risks are, that's the first step.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are some of the real-world examples from your sources that should really make us sit up and pay attention?
Well, the Hyundai and Kia USB theft wave is probably the most striking recent example. It was all over the news reports you shared.
The one with the USB cable.
Yeah. So certain models, particularly those without push-button start and immobilizers, had this vulnerability in their internal communication system, the CAN bus.
CAN bus. Okay, like the car's nervous system.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It lets all the electronics talk to each other. Thieves figured out they could use a modified USB cable, plug it in, and essentially send commands to bypass the ignition security.
And start the car just like that.
In seconds, apparently. Under 60 seconds in some cases.
Wow.
And the really weird part, some reports mention thieves using tools disguised as, like, old Nintendo Game Boys.
You're kidding me. A Game Boy. That's bizarre.
Right. A strange mix of retro tech and modern crime.
So why was that vulnerability even there? Was it just an oversight?
The sources suggest it was likely a cost-saving measure on certain trim levels specifically, not including an engine immobilizer that communicated with the key transponder. Manufacturers have responded, with software updates, offering steering wheel locks.
But the damage was done for a lot of owners.
Oh, absolutely. It created a huge window of opportunity. Then, separately, you have the relay attacks, especially on Teslas like the Model Y and 3. Mm-hmm. That was in one of the cybersecurity reports you sent.
That's the key fob signal boosting thing.
Exactly. Keyless entry is super convenient, but it relies on the fob, sending out a constant low-power signal. Thieves use a device to capture that faint signal, even if the fob is inside your house.
Miles away sometimes.
Well, maybe not miles, but certainly further than the normal range. They amplify it, then relay it to another device held near the car. The car thinks the key is right there.
And it just unlocks, lets them drive away.
Yep. Unlocks, starts, everything. No physical key needed.
Man. So the convenience really does have a sharp downside. It feels like this constant cat and mouse game.
That's precisely it. Security patches come out, hackers find new ways in, and it's not just Teslas or Kias. That report on the UK luxury car thefts you found.
Oh yeah, the $1 million ring.
Over $1 million worth, yeah. Using tablets and signal relays, a mix of tech know-how and organized crime.
Did they mention how they got caught?
Ironically, one of them apparently forgot to turn off location tagging while live streaming some of their exploits.
No way! Live streaming car theft. And caught by geotagging.
True story, according to the report. The irony is thick on that one.
You really can't make this stuff up. Okay, so beyond actually stealing the car, one article touched on data. Our cars collect a ton of data.
Oh, huge amounts. The sources mentioned figures like 25 gigabytes per hour in some modern vehicles.
25 gigs an hour. What kind of data are we talking about?
Location, speed, braking patterns, steering inputs, which infotainment features you use, potentially data from your synced phone, contacts, messages if the permissions allow.
Wow. So it's not just about targeted ads then?
Not just ads, no. This data can influence insurance rates, potentially be used in legal situations, accident reconstructions, city planning even. It's valuable stuff.
And if the car system gets hacked, that data could be exposed too.
That's the concern, yeah.
Yeah.
It adds another layer to the potential damage beyond just losing the vehicle. Privacy is a big part of this.
Okay, so we see what's happening. It's complex. But how exactly do these hacks work? Can we break down the main methods simply based on the tech details in your sources, but, for the rest of us?
Sure. Let's start with remote hacking. The classic example, which was in one of the articles, is that Jeep Cherokee hack from 2015.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
Researchers basically found a way in through the car's Uconnect infotainment system over the internet connection. They could control things like the wipers, the radio, but also, critically, they could disable the transmission while the car was moving.
That's terrifying on a highway.
Exactly. It showed that vital car functions could potentially be accessed remotely if the connected systems weren't locked down tight enough.
Really makes you think twice about all that connectivity. Okay, what else?
Then there's key fob cloning. Think of it like digital pickpocketing. Thieves use special devices, sometimes called sniffers, near you or your car to intercept the radio signals your key fob sends when you lock or unlock the doors.
They just grab the code out of the air.
Essentially, yeah. They capture that signal data. With the right equipment, they might be able to duplicate that signal or crack the code to create a clone of your key fob.
So they can make a digital copy of my key without ever touching it.
That's the idea behind it. It's sophisticated stuff. And related are the relay attacks we talked about with the Teslas.
Right, the signal boosting.
Yeah. Instead of copying the code, they just extend its range. One device near your key fob inside your house picks up the signal, amplifies it, and sends it to a second device near the car. The car just thinks the real key is nearby.
It tricks the car's proximity sensors. Makes sense.
Exactly. And finally, those USB or CAN bus hacks like the Kia Hyundai issue, that's about directly accessing the car's internal network.
Through the USB port.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the OBD2 port, the diagnostic port mechanics use. By plugging in a device, they can inject malicious commands straight into the CAN bus, bypassing security and telling the engine to start, or the doors to unlock.
It sounds so direct.
Yeah.
And simple, almost, compared to the radio stuff.
The method might seem simple, plugging something in, but it exploits deep vulnerabilities in the car's own communication system. It's quite concerning, as your sources stressed.
Okay, wow. So multiple ways in. It can feel a bit hopeless, maybe. But your sources did offer advice. What are some practical, reasonably easy things we can actually do?
Definitely not hopeless. There are straightforward steps. One of the most effective, mentioned in several guides you shared, is using a Faraday pouch for your key fob.
A Faraday pouch?
Okay.
Like for evidence in crime shows?
Kind of, yeah. It's a little pouch lined with material that blocks radio signals. You pop your key fob in when you're not using it, especially at home overnight.
And that stops the signal, so no relay attacks.
Exactly. It blocks the fob from transmitting, so relay devices can't pick up its signal. Also helps prevent cloning attempts that rely on capturing the signal.
Okay, that seems easy enough. A little signal blocking bag for my keys. Are there downsides? Like, does it mess with the key?
Not when the key's out of the pouch, no. You just have to remember to put it in. The quality matters a bit. Some technical reports you found actually tested different ones. Look for pouches specifically rated to block key fob frequencies.
Good tip. Okay, what else?
Another simple thing. Check your car's mobile app settings. If you have features like remote unlock or remote start, and you don't really use them,
Turn them off.
consider turning them off, yeah. Fewer active connections can mean fewer potential vulnerabilities. That was highlighted in some manufacturer bulletins you included.
Makes sense. Reduce the attack surface, as they say.
Precisely. And this one's crucial. Keep your car's software updated. Just like your phone or your computer, car makers release updates pretty regularly now.
The updates, I always put those off.
Don't. Seriously, those updates often contain vital security patches that fix known vulnerabilities. Skipping them is like leaving your digital door unlocked. Treat it like updating your laptop.
Okay, point taken. Prioritize the car updates. What about charging?
Be cautious with public USB ports, like at airports, cafes, or even some charging stations at rest stops. There's a risk of juice jacking.
Juice jack.
Yeah, where someone might have tampered with the port to install malware. When you plug your phone in, it could try to steal data or install something nasty. It could potentially even interact with your car's system if the phone is connected via USB.
Seriously. So stick to my own charger and wall outlet.
That's safer, yeah. Use your own adapter or a power bank. Avoid plugging directly into unknown public USB ports if you can help it.
Got it. Anything else basic?
One really basic one. Don't leave your car running unattended, even for a minute to run into the store. It's just an open invitation, digital acts or not.
Right. Common sense still applies. These are all really practical tips. Thanks. Now, while this is all pretty serious, you mentioned your research turned up a few less successful attempts. Some funny fails.
Oh, definitely. You need a bit of levity with this stuff. There was one case apparently involving a Tesla hacker. Managed to steal the car. Everything went smoothly.
Until
They tried to park it. Couldn't parallel park to save their life, apparently. Drew a ton of attention and got caught.
all that technical skill foiled by basic driving maneuvers. That's brilliant.
Then there was another one, just odd. Someone apparently hacked a car, not to steal it, but seemingly just to sync their own Spotify playlist.
Wait, what? They went to all that trouble for tunes.
Apparently. The motivation wasn't theft, just unauthorized audio customization. Very strange.
That is bizarrely specific. Any others?
One more that stood out was a thief who successfully stole a car but then crashed it almost immediately while trying to figure out how to set up Apple CarPlay.
Oh, the irony. Masters the hack, baffled by the infotainment system.
It just goes to show, right? Technical skill doesn't always translate to common sense
Yeah.
or driving ability.
Okay, those definitely lighten the mood a bit. So, wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway here? The core message from all these sources?
I think the fundamental point, and it echoes across all the materials, is pretty simple. If your car connects to your phone or the internet or uses a smart key, it has the potential to be vulnerable.
The connectivity is the double-edged sword.
Exactly. Convenience comes with risk. We need to be aware of that risk and take reasonable steps. It's about being informed, not paranoid.
And as we mentioned, if you want to go deeper, that book, From Hacked Cars to Cyber Attacks by Tina Jin, seems like a really solid resource based on your review.
Yeah, it covers the tech, the risks, and more protection strategies in good detail. Worth a look if this topic really interests you.
Definitely. So here's a final thought to leave everyone with, something that kind of stuck with me from reading through this. If your car can update itself over Wi-Fi, maybe while it's sitting in your garage, how sure are you that only the manufacturer is logging in?
That's a really good question to chew on.
Right. Makes you think about who else might be knocking on that digital door. Something to consider next time your car connects to the network.
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now fear your car just a tiny bit more, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channels and social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere podcasts cause mild paranoia. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it has Wi-Fi, it can probably be hacked. Stay tuned for more great topics. See you next time.